Yeah, thank you very much also Professor Meloni for inviting me to this doctoral forum. I should give you some greetings from my colleagues from the University of Helsinki, the doctoral program, especially from Risto Saaren, who is the head of the doctoral program. We discussed some of the questions you were sending us in advance. So what I will be presenting is also a little bit more a view and a perspective on challenges and open questions. And maybe the first one is that in the University of Helsinki, and especially our doctoral program at the moment, is quite unsure how it develops into the future, because you may know that Finland has a new government and they are implementing some new models. And one of the challenges is that also the University of Helsinki would like to streamline all the doctoral education programs, which means now with a very rapid development, there are some ideas how to make all the different doctoral programs similar, and of course the main and the leading goal is given by science. And we have now to address and to discuss in our doctoral program how this fits into our scope and in our goals of theological education and being a doctoral program under the heat of the humanities in some ways. So this is one of the main important challenges at the moment. And also in the panel before we had this addressing of religion and politics. So in Finland at the moment this is quite a difficult topic, not only from the streamlining the doctoral programs, but also because we see at the moment that there are some hostile, let's say, to put it maybe in that way, some hostile movements against internationalization. And of course the doctoral program and our university is of course a very international program, but if the new government is now restricting visas, so that means for the future of our doctoral program that it will be difficult to attract people to applying for the doctoral program who are not coming from the European Union. This is maybe not the topic for our European Academy, but because also the University of Helsinki is at the moment implementing, and especially also our faculty, a sort of Africa strategy where we're trying to get African scholars and the early scholars into our doctoral program. So this will be in the future a very big challenge, how to cope with the political developments which are very fast growing, and also with the emphasis on more Finishization, let's say, of the education. And this also connects with the whole issue of language policy, where we were in the University of Helsinki and in our doctoral program at the moment quite moderate and flexible. So mostly we have Finnish doctoral thesis, but we also have English written thesis, and sometimes if it is needed it would be also possible to deliver a doctoral thesis in Swedish or even in German. But now maybe there's something going behind the scenes where it may be that there is more emphasis on doctoral thesis in Finnish, which also connects to the fact, and this is another challenge where we are facing at the moment, that maybe students are more and more interested in national topics. So it becomes more and more difficult to find students who are interested in broader topics and international topics. And at the moment we still had, last week we had our meeting with the doctoral program board in theology, and for the first time we did not have so much applicants for the doctoral program. So this is something we're very surprised. We do not know if it is only for this spring term. We have also an autumn term to apply, but if it is a trend, and there are some changing trends since the whole pandemic situation, so we have to be very careful what to do and how to develop with this fact that maybe if students are not any longer considering writing a PhD and are interested in research, what can we do in the Master's Studies program already to give more emphasis on research and make students more interested into following a research topic? And maybe nowadays it seems to be not any longer so attractive giving your time to a 3 years very intense, isolating, ascetic part of your life. So we are not quite sure at the moment is a trend or is it only some point where we following it, but that makes it also problematic to think now in strategies, and we would be very helpful and very curious to hear from some of your remarks or maybe observations and maybe also solutions or creative. So this is something which keeps us very busy at the moment. Another point which we were discussing in preparation of this PhD forum is the whole issue about European degrees in theology and religion, and that also is connected to the whole streamlining of the doctoral education. So we have to give, let's say, we have to set now some things, very, very pragmatic and very easy things. How many articles are needed if you are writing a PhD on the article basis? How long should they be? And all these very pragmatic questions, which are now for us very current because we have the pressure of streamlining our doctoral education. But on the other side, in a forum like this here, it would be very important to maybe find some guidelines from our fields and from the European Academy, just to say what would be a good, let's say, a good goal to set and to go. Also related with that is for us, let's say, it connects also what Konrad was saying, and how far can we maybe connect a little bit more the doctoral educations and the exchange of doctoral studies in the broader framework of LERO, for example. In Helsinki, we are also part now of these Una Europa bachelor studies, but maybe it will develop also further into a doctoral program. So how can we make the best use of the different corporations and networks, and how to find something which is easy to cope and have a lot of need for the doctoral students. And then maybe two other points I would like to mention. So there was also the question about how we deal with joint initiatives and also with external and international supervisors, and maybe some co-supervising between institutions and faculties of theologies and religious studies. So in Helsinki, and I'm, as you hear maybe of my accent, I'm coming from the German tradition, so some things are also new for me to learn in the Nordic and in the Finnish context, but all, I think it applies also for the Nordic countries and my Nordic colleagues. So normally the Nordic countries like to have a modest approach and an informal approach of solving things. So we very much like to give emphasis on the individual connection of researchers in their special fields. But let's say, if I'm speaking to my Finnish colleagues, so they do not like to have, let's say, too big bureaucratic administrative things, because we do not have enough capacities to do all these administrative things. So the approach is fostering on the individual level, on the level of the topics of the research fields, of the institutions, but not building up too many blown up in administrative bodies. And then maybe a last point, which seems to me, and it's also connected with the resilience project, which we will discuss in maybe in another setting, but what also keeps us at the moment very busy is the whole question how to deal with the rapid and dynamic development of the whole artificial intelligence. And especially, it's not only what we maybe have more the discussion about it in the bachelor and in the master programs, but also how to deal with ChatGPT and all the other tools, which maybe can do something and create something new. So this is another topic then. Also, how should we support and also to monitor the development of these more practical tools like DeepL, where you are just translating things and making text better. Or also Grammarly, should we allow that, or is it should we say no to all the artificial tools? So there are different policies and different strategies in different from different colleagues, but also in different faculties. So we do not have one line, but as the developments are going on so fast, so this is of course something which we should address very much. It also has then to do with the language of the written thesis. So of course now at the moment in Finland, the University of Helsinki and the doctoral program has of course to offer Finnish doctoral thesis, but and students are writing in Finnish, but of course the scope of the supervisors is not very high if you are writing a thesis on a specialized field and writing it in Finnish. So there is also the challenge, can we use, let's say, just these artificial intelligence like DeepL just to translate a Finnish written doctoral thesis to find another supervisor outside of Finland? Or is this something which is too unsure and does not make sense? Also maybe if the doctoral student is not able to keep the discussion in English. So these are a lot of challenges and open questions. I do not have a solution, but I'm very curious and happy to present these challenges and happy to get some feedback of your experiences.